Hello, friends. I hope you all are doing really well in your respective lives. Today, I, Kunal Nagpal, am feeling really overwhelmed to welcome you back to this great economic portal, Economics Enthusiasts Academia, which is also known as Nagpal Econotech Academia. My dear friends, in today's session, we are actually going to discover the core strengths of the US economy. We know that the US economy is actually one of the strongest economy, one of the biggest economies across the globe. And you will be really surprised to know that despite of so many shortcomings or various upheavals going on at a world level, the US economy has performed really well, especially in the month of September, and that can really be observed through the statistics of the manufacturing activities going on in the US economy, especially in its third quarter. So it's really a good news that despite the strikes in the automobile industry in the recent past, the United States factory production increased more than expected in September, indicating that this economy ended the third quarter with a great momentum, with a huge momentum. Manufacturing output rose by 0.4% last month, that is in the month of September, with the durable goods manufacturing output rising at a 2.3% annualized rate. Isn't it really the startling figure? So, my dear friends, the production at the United States factory increased more than expected in September, despite of the shortcomings in the US economy in the recent past and at a global level, as I've just mentioned. Now, if we consider the minute details, as per the Federal Reserve, the great international forum, the manufacturing output of the US economy rose 0.4% last month. The data for August was revised lower to show the production at the factories dipping 0.1% instead of nudging up 0.1% as previously reported. The production dropped 0.8% on a year-on-year basis in September. It was unchanged in the third quarter. The durable goods manufacturing output rose at a 2.3% annualized rate, which was actually offset by a 2.4% pace of decline in the non-durable manufacturing. The motor vehicle and parts output rose 0.3% last month after declining 4.1% in August. And as I have just mentioned, the automobile industry was undergoing through the major strike in the US economy. So despite of that, in the month of September, the output increasing to 0.3% for the motor vehicle and parts. This is really the big news. And it really emphasizes the core strengths of the US economy, the core resilience with which it is coming forward to combat with its weaknesses. And this is the pure sign of a victorious leader. Furthermore, the United Auto Workers Union embarked on limited strikes at the factories owned by General Motors, Ford, and Chrysler parent Stellantis in mid-September. The industrial action has since broadened out, shutting down the Ford's truck plant in Kentucky last week. Furthermore, despite the last month's strong showing manufacturing remains constrained by slowing demand for goods because of the higher interest rates. Since March 2022, the Federal Reserve has raised its benchmark overnight interest rate by 525 basis points to the current 5.25% to 5.50% range. So this is really the surprising news, my dear friends. The great comeback by the US economy. I hope you all must also be getting really overwhelmed by going through this detailed statistical figures, how the US economy has been able to overcome its weaknesses and again coming back to its original track of accelerating its overall growth with huge momentum. And my dear friends, in the US economy, manufacturing actually accounts for 11.1% of the economy. That is the strong secondary sector. So the worst for the sector is likely over, with the Institute for Supply Management's measure of national factory activity rising to a 10-month high in September. Last month, if we talk again about September, there were solid increases in the production of wood, primary metals, plastics, and rubber products. But the output of the apparel and leather, as well as printing and support goods, declines. Furthermore, my dear friends, the mining output rose 0.4% after gaining 0.2% in August. And as we go forward in our discussion, you will be delighted to know that actually utility productions fell 0.3%. Yes, though it fell, but the great news of delight is that it increased 0.7% the previous month, that is in August, but now again it is undergoing massive improvement. Hence, the overall industrial production rose 0.3% in September after being unchanged in August. So, my dear friends, the industrial output increased at a 2.5% rate in the third quarter, and that actually followed a 0.7% growth pace in the second quarter. And if we talk about the overall capacity utilization for the industrial sector with regards to the US economy, a measure of how fully the firms are using their resources, that's what the capacity utilization actually symbolizes. So this particular figure rose 0.2% percentage point to 79.7% in September. It is now equal to its 1972 to 2022 average. The operating rate for the manufacturing sector nudged up to 77.8% from 77.7% in the prior month and is actually 0.4 percentage point below its long run average. So my dear friends, after undergoing such detailed figures of the overall statistical analysis for the US economy with regards to the manufacturing activities undergoing there, it is really the news of great delight, and it really feels great how the US economy has been able to cope up and come back to its original pace, and how soon it is able to cope up with the crisis, realizing that it is one of the biggest economies, and also realizing the overall intensity of the international crisis going on. It's really marvelous. This comeback is really worth an applause. And obviously, if it has been able to attain such a great level of normalcy within a month, it is actually 100% assured that it will be able to regain its original momentum of growth, rather outpace or outgrow its original momentum, its earlier momentum of growth with great laurels. It is actually worth an applause. And these type of inspirational instances or inspirational case studies, I should actually put, these are actually very, very overwhelming, and they form and they form the goals for rest of the economies across the globe. Yes, we are Indians, and we know that India is being highlighted across the globe for its extraordinary performances, as we have been discussing in our previous sessions. And it's really a moment of great pride. So, what's the secret? That we work as a family. Our policies, our overall propagandas are based on Vasudev Kudumbakam, one God, one world family, and that's why we are able to progress. And that's why I believe that this is also the secret of the coping up of the US economy with regards to the manufacturing sector we have just considered. And obviously, not only the manufacturing sector, US economy will be able to cope up with all its weaknesses. It must have gone through the downfalls it must have gone through in the recent past because of the international crisis or various economic changes undergoing across the globe. So the only secret to cope up is to treat the global economy as one entity. It's not that there are individual entities who are working separately or in isolation across the world. No, it is the one global entity. It is just one entity working as the team. And that's why we can move forward, we can encourage each other, we can help each other in the case of adversities or in the case of tough times. And we can encourage each other to move forward also in the good times by acting as a role model. So this team spirit is actually the most important ingredient for the holistic progress. I hope this session has been a great learning experience, and it will really charge you, enlighten you to great limits. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Namaskar. Jai Hind.